Hello, hi, and welcome to the Action Coalition session on technology and innovation for gender equality at the Paris Gender Equality Forum. I hope you can hear me. This is a totally new platform for me, and it's also slightly disconcerting because I cannot see anybody except my own face. So hopefully all is well, and that if it is not, somebody will let me know. So welcome, my name is Jack. I am a feminist tech activist based in Malaysia and co-maker of Numun Fund, the first dedicated fund for feminist structure in and for the Global South. And I want to first take a moment to appreciate everyone's presence here. It's really not easy to be online at the same time, across many time zones, in the middle of a pandemic, amidst many other challenges and crises. So your presence is really very much valued and appreciated. And it's also very apt, given the thematic focus of this Action Coalition on tech and innovation, because meaningful access to technology as a rights enabler and critical infrastructure has never been more evident, and the impact of exclusion never more pronounced. So in the next 2 hours, we will be hearing from a range of stakeholders and leaders on their commitments to this Action Coalition area. Putting gender justice, equality, and inclusion at the center of the agenda when speaking about technology and innovation is actually hugely significant. It's also a long time coming and, in a way, almost full circle, given that Section J of the Beijing Platform for Action in 1995 was in fact amongst the first UN documents that explicitly included information and communications tech as a global political commitment. I was a little too young to be there then, but I am actually really glad to be present here at this juncture, continuing one of the threads of work by women's movements, feminist leaders, and gender equality advocates and leaders in advancing this important area of work. So please use the live chat as a space for you to share your energy and to exchange opinions throughout the next couple of hours. And I would like to invite you to just say hello in the chat box right now. And you can start by also just sharing one key difference that you think this Action Coalition can potentially make to your reality when it comes to how technology and innovation intersect with gender justice. And huge disparities really demand for huge action, so dream ambitiously. And this session will also be captured by the amazing graphical documenters who will be sharing their work at the end, and the team will also be sharing further information and resources throughout. So great! Let's get this session started with the Action Coalition motion story that showcases the journey so far. And let's cue in the opening video. Great, how amazing. In case you were slightly confused by the earlier video, we should know by now that technology doesn't work the way you want it to work when you need it to work the way that you need it to work. And beautiful design is always not noticed, just like good facilitation. But we are generous here and we're good and we're going to roll with it today. And to open the session, we have UN Women Deputy Executive Director Anita Bhatia with us. Anita, I'll invite you to join the screen with me. Welcome, Anita. So, as I mentioned earlier, Section J of the Beijing Platform for Action was path-breaking in 1995. It emphasized equal access and participation in expression and decision-making. But at that time, only a few million people had access to the internet. Now, 26 years later, what do you think has been the most significant change and impact that digital technologies have made in addressing structural inequalities and the advancement of gender justice? Oh, I think you're on mute, so we can't hear you. Yeah. Do you want to check your... You can't hear me. This is again, no, the law of technology. We ask for your patience as we try and figure this out. Oh, is it me? I am hearing not Anita, but somebody else speaking.
Okay, good. Look, I have the question in front of me, so shall I just answer it?
Yes, go ahead.
So hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, wherever you may be joining us from. It's really a pleasure for me to participate in this Action Coalition on Technology and Innovation. And I think what the moderator asked me was how access and control of new technologies has really changed things over the last 25 to 26 years. And to give just one quick example of how the world has changed because of this. And I think if I had to pick any one example, I would probably pick the case of mobile telephony and the impact that has had for women's economic empowerment, as well as for financial inclusion of women, and what it has done to enable women to start and grow their businesses, and what it has done to encourage and foster women's entrepreneurship. So that is one. And then the second impact of the increase in access to technologies would be in the area of education and what online learning has and is enabling women and girls to do, underscoring, however, that there still remains a wide and yawning gap in terms of the gender digital divide and a gap between access in the developed world and in the developing world. Thank you, and back to you.
Thanks very much. And I finally could sort of catch actually towards the end what you were saying, and I'm really glad that you spoke about the gap and that this gap is something that's really critical that we still need to meet. And so I was going to ask you actually the next question, which is about meaningful access being a key issue, and that is still a gap in connectivity, in all of our diversity. But I think we can also move on to the question after that, since you spoke a little bit around that, which is about the multi-stakeholder processing the development of this action coalition. I think when we think internet governance, internet policy, internet collaboration issue, the multi-stakeholder model is often one that really is quite innovative and underpins a lot of this work. It's really critical. And it's a critical demonstration of the need for collaboration and solidarity across actors, sectors, countries, peoples, and affected groups. Even across differences is the true challenge, you know? So how can this process and commitment continue to seed, catalyze, and sustain collaborative action in the next 5 years?
So thanks for that really important question, because of course everybody's asking themselves what happens the day after Paris. And I think part of what is different about the Generation Equality Forum and the process that has brought us to this point is that all of these commitments are actually underpinned by financial commitments as well, because we understand that the scale of the problem is so large that unless we drive new resources towards the agenda, we simply will not be able to solve for the problems that we all know exist. But most importantly, the scale of the problem is such that no single actor can by themselves have a hope in hell of solving the problem. And so you do need both the private and the public sector to act together, but you also need the voice of business and the voice of civil society to ground truth, whatever solutions may be offered. The multi-stakeholder alliance that was launched yesterday, and which is epitomized by this coalition as well, will need some way of holding itself accountable for making those investments and making progress towards the targets that have been identified. And that's where UN Women's role as a glue holding this process together going forward comes in. And that means development of reporting frameworks, development of indicators, and making sure there are moments that matter where we get together to look at what progress has been made and to see what adjustments need to be made so that we are keeping on track to achieve all of the goals set out in the Global Acceleration Plan being developed here as part of Generation Equality. Thanks, and back to you.
Amazing. Thanks. Really glad to hear that. Also glad to hear about the role of civil society and also maybe tech developers, researchers, academic, and accountability. So thanks very much, Anita. Now let's move to the first video segment. As they're queuing up the video, we are starting with a video shot that pays important recognition to some of the brilliant women thinkers, dreamers, makers, and doers who've been pushing boundaries and paving the way in transforming the world. And this video will be followed by a presentation of commitments from the governments of Chile and Rwanda. You're ready?
Here's to the unsung heroes, the revolutionaries, the ones that do not take no for an answer, who want to create, invent, explore, who open doors for others to thrive, who put their lives on the line to break barriers, and persisted. They can no longer be ignored because they're our strength. They push our societies forward. Many see them as crazy, incompetent, hysterical. We see brilliance, power, and strength. They fight for all the women and girls of the world, so that everyone, everywhere, can live their lives, can live their dreams.
Excelencias, amigas y amigos. La pandemia nos
Excellencies, friends, the pandemic has shown us that science, that the generation of knowledge and the ability to develop technology and to innovate are absolutely essential if we want to overcome these large crises. It means that we've got to have the capacity and talent of everyone at the wheel, with no exclusions. Today, I'm very proud to see that I'm going to be launching a policy in Chile for equality in science, technology, and innovation. I want to ensure that we can have proper equality of opportunity in these areas. This policy is the result of a process involving everyone, where we had over 1,800 people coming together to consult the public consultation round, and many, many months of working with civil society, with academics, with industry. And the roadmap has actually shown us that we have 4 targets which have become ambitious work plans with 30 measures to introduce an education plan which is going to promote young science and technology learning for children, and to actually help teachers as well to properly teach sciences and maths. Also a national monitoring facility to actually ensure that we actually are seeing by gender how children are doing in matters of science and technology. Another measure is to actually install quotas for employment in the fifth generation technology, and so that we make sure that the doors are open to the digital economy for all, and all are able to actually participate in the digitalization of the country and the Internet of Things. We want to make sure that we have also invested in education, health, and other areas of our society, and that we are valid partners in fora like this. We have got to make sure that we are at the front of regional cooperation, so that we have an inclusive policy, so that women have the same rights to actually be involved and create technology as men. This is why today we wanted to actually introduce an regional alliance for digitalization of women in Latin America and the Caribbean, which is going to be supported by Microsoft, CEPAL, and many other bodies. This alliance is going to actually produce common activities to make sure that digital tools are accessible to those who are not connected today, and this is particularly interesting for women. We're going to be having training programs as well, making sure that we can create networks, that we can have trade exchanges between women in our region. In these days of a pandemic, we have got to reconstruct a society which is fairer, more inclusive, and more just. The only way in which we can do this, and the only way that we can actually have that society tomorrow, is if we actually ensure that today we make sure that the women and girls have got a role to play and are protagonists in this new society. Thank you very much.
Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Generation Equality Forum is the most significant platform for advancing gender equality in today's world. I wish to commend President Macron of France and President López Obrador of Mexico for championing this initiative together with UN Women Executive Director Pumzile Mlambo Nguka. Rwanda is particularly happy to be associated with the Action Coalition for Technology and Innovation for Gender Equality. Let me tell you about Rwanda's plans and commitments in this area. First, we aim to bridge the gender gap in digital access by 2026. We will do this in 3 specific areas: ownership of smartphones, access to digital financial services, and science, technology, and math studies at the upper secondary level. Second, we will ensure that our innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem is fully inclusive by doubling the number of women and girls supported by innovation centers. Rwanda has also engaged the East African community in pursuit of possible joint commitments in these domains. Achieving gender equality in technology and innovation is just one part of the wider struggle to guarantee equal rights and opportunities for women and girls. Every human being, regardless of gender, should be able to live the life that they choose. That is the commitment we are all making through the Generation Equality Forum, inspired by the historic outcome of the 4th World Conference on Women a quarter century ago. Let's stay the course, and I thank you for your kind attention.
Sorry, the screen is stuck for me, so you may have seen me just like looking a bit frantic. But yes, thank you very much for that. Can you hear me? There is maybe a slight time lag. Can you hear me? Just double checking. Yeah. Okay. Now you can. Yeah. Great. So there's maybe a slight time lag. I will refresh in a bit. Thank you very much for confirming. And that was really great. Really glad to hear that there is participatory consultation in policymaking. Always happy to hear that. And hopefully this will be a trend in policymaking that will extend throughout all fields of technology broadly, including on the right to privacy. And really glad to also hear that there is a lot of exchange and conversation happening in the live chat, especially participation by people in Africa. So yes, in the African continent. So super happy. And now it gives me huge pleasure to invite Ms. Latanya Markfret, President and CEO of the Global Fund for Women, to share their commitments in resourcing movements working on tech and innovation. Latanya. Yeah, we are having as always, no? When we talk about technology, there's going to be hiccups with technology. We can't seem to see, the screen seems to be frozen.
Hello, I don't know if
video.
anyone can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and talk even though I can't hear anyone. Can anyone hear me? Okay, so I think you can hear me. So even though my tech is not working that well, we are so happy to be here, and thank you, Jack. Global Fund for Women is incredibly proud to be a part of this Action Coalition on Technology and Innovation. This has been an incredible year with so many challenges and opportunities for women everywhere. We're happy to have this moment to pause, reflect, celebrate, and then reboot, which is to commit, recommit, and charge forward. At Global Fund for Women, we support movements for gender justice to create lasting change. And we know that so many activists, women living with different abilities or living without access to technology, can't join us on this very platform today. We cannot just leave them behind. The bottom line is that technology must work for gender justice, not against it. And as a longtime feminist fund, Global Fund for Women believes strongly in supporting those closest to the issues to create and drive their own solutions. Feminist technology innovators in the Global South and East are creating technologies to help advance democracy and human rights. Technology aligned with justice and liberation. You've got to love that. And Global Fund for Women is alongside them with funding and support. So I'm ecstatic to announce that Global Fund for Women is committing to mobilizing at least $5 million over the next 5 years to fund gender justice movements and activists advancing feminist technology and innovation. Also, we will launch 3 or more multilingual gender justice labs to learn where new gender justice conversations are taking place and how we and others can best support and resource them in the moment. And Global Fund for Women is committing to work in partnership with more than 30 feminist funds, grantees, and resource partners to influence and advocate for government and corporate transparency and accountability to gender justice movements. Lastly, we will be launching a campaign to engage our audience of 2 million in feminist technology organizing globally. It's called System Reboot. We know this is a once-in-a-generation moment to catalyze change. I'm incredibly excited about this work. The potential is vast, and we already know so many of the solutions. Together, we have to ensure tech and innovation build a more just and equal world. Thank you so much, and back over to you, Jack.
Thanks so much, Latanya. All the plans sound really exciting. Also excited to hear about the 5 million minimum in funding gender justice movements. And Numun Fund, as a partner of Global Fund for Women, is also really glad to be in solidarity in this work. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Armin Sarkisian, the President of Armenia, to share his presentation of commitments. I hope that we can see and hear President Sarkisian.
Well, I don't know. Do you see me or not? But definitely I am.
We can hear you, yeah.
You can hear me fine, but I see the face of President of Chile. I would like to remind everybody that that's not me. I'm a bit different. And let me start with definitely expressing my sincere thanks and appreciation to United Nations, to Presidents of France and Mexico for organizing this event, because this is one of the important movements that is happening, and it's interesting that the chosen title is the right one, because if we are speaking about future, there are two things that definitely closer to my microphone. Do you hear me? Hello? Perfect. Okay. Do you hear me? Then fine. Then I will continue taking. I don't know who created this technology. That didn't work very well today. It looks like it's created by men, but not women, because whatever women create is more are more predictable and more stable rather than the ones that men are doing. So I hope the next time we will use technology which is created by women, so we'll be much more safer, in much more safer hands. Well, coming back to the future, there is a future. Our future definitely is very, very strongly connected with technology, high tech, and new technologies and innovation. Be that specifically in IT or in biotech or in artificial intelligence. That's for sure. And one thing is sure in my mind, that the gender equality is in the future. It's coming. We cannot avoid that. It's happening every day. And I take myself, and I would like to take you with me into the future, 30 years' time. Probably there will be another conference where men will be basically having a conference for gender equality, because there will be a minority then rather than women, because this is what I see in the universities, schools, and IT schools where I'm visiting in Armenia, and basically there are more and more ladies, young girls and ladies going into technology, because the world is changing. And it's changing dramatically, and it's changing very fast. And it reminds me one of the projects that we started in Armenia as my initiative, which is called ATOM. And ATOM is Advanced Tomorrow. Basically, ATOM is a project where we try to bring to Armenia top-class artificial intelligence companies to create joint ventures. But the gender equality is also an ATOM, Advancing Tomorrow, because as I said, tomorrow there'll be equality in gender. And that's why whatever this initiative is doing, bringing together technology and innovation together with gender equality, is just moving towards the future. In Armenia, we are paying attention very seriously on both these issues. As an example, if you take presidential administration, the team that I work with, basically what we have there, I have more ladies and girls than men. And this was not done because there is a specific agenda, because we were choosing, and I was choosing, my aides and advisors according to their quality and knowledge. And here we are. So I think it's not only that we have to do financial support project, but be honest when we have to choose, and be choosing the best, the more reliable, predictable, smart, and then probably we'll get the equality as well. In the meantime, we do a lot of projects which are related to high tech and technology, and I would like to announce some of them. One of them is a project called TUMO, which is an IT project teaching younger generation to basically the basics and the high level of programming. And it's all over Armenia. It's very famous now. We have the same in Paris. We're opening the one in Berlin and in other places as well. So it's an Armenian know-how, but the core of that know-how, and the leader who is running it is a lady. Second, as I announced, is a project of Atom, where we have a lot, it's more or less equal project of ladies and men. Then the other one that we will have this year for the third time is called Summit of Minds. And Summit of Minds will have this year on its agenda two issues. One is geopolitics of the region, because unfortunately we had a war with our neighbor recently. And the second one is the role of IT technology in developing societies. And of course, when we speak about societies, we have to speak about gender equality too. And I would like to take this opportunity to invite all of you to come. It's a restricted number of participants, but it's going to be live. And it will happen first in Chamonix, second in Armenia, in the mountains, in Dilijan, and the third one hopefully in Washington, D.C. But the year after...
I'm so sorry to have to interrupt, President Sarkeesian. Yeah, because of the urgency of time. Thank you very much for sharing these incredible and very exciting initiatives, and also I very much appreciate your sense of humor as the technology is failing us. But we really encourage you to find out more by checking out some of the AC Coalition work and some of the commitments in the website, and checking out Armenia's amazing commitments. Thank you so much, President Sarkeesian. Appreciate this.
Thank you very much. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. And now we will move to our first commitment dialogue. We have our first commitment dialogue with Ms. Henrietta Fore, the Executive Director of UNICEF, and Mr. Pekka Haavisto, the Finnish Minister of Foreign Affairs. I'm sorry if I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing the names correct, but yeah. Please join me on this space and say hello if you're with me.
Hello, Jack, we're with you.
Yes, Pekka Haavisto here.
Hi. So Finland and UNICEF are aligning on some collective commitments to advance the vision of this action coalition. And one of them is focused on unlocking new investment flows. This includes private and public financing towards interventions that address the gender-digital divide. So, Mr. Haavisto, can you share a little bit about Finland's public financing commitment, and also your excitement about finding and exploring new ways to leverage additional partners and financing for impact?
Thank you, Chuck, for a good question, and best greetings from Helsinki, Finland. And Finland will allocate 80 million euros over the next 5 years for the intersection of technology and innovation and gender equality in our development cooperation. And however, even if we sum up all the available ODA, it will not be nearly enough to bridge the gender digital divide. We need, of course, the private sector on board as well. And Finland's development finance institution, FinFund, is committing to answering to this challenge with the additional 50 million euros investment in the next 5 years. And FinFund will apply a gender lens in all of their investments to bridge the gender gap in digitalization. We are also pleased to collaborate with UNICEF and other partners in finding innovative financing solutions, which are key to unlocking bold impact for gender equality in the tech and innovation revolution. Digital Literacy Equity Outcomes Fund aims to do this, and Executive Director Fore will tell you maybe more about this shortly. And then finally, Finland is also part of a new EU Digital for Development hub. It aims to enhance digital partnerships and boost joint investments between the EU and partner countries and reduce the gender digital divide. Back to you, Jack.
Thanks so much. It's really great to hear such strong commitments. And I'm also really curious to see how this might involve civil society and technology developers from communities and movements as well. And yes, Ms. Fore, tell us a little bit more about the Digital Equity Outcomes Fund that Finland, UNCDF, UNICEF, and Volta Capital are collectively committing to design.
Thank you very much, Jack. And as Minister Haavisto just mentioned, we are hoping to gather a lot of private sector partners. And we want to do so because impact investors are a way that we can align them toward a co-design of blended financial instruments and an outcomes fund. And Jack, to your point, we're definitely going to be involving grassroots women and girls organizations so that they can help develop the metrics that we are going to measure our progress on. But it's a very, very important and urgent time for us to rethink learning and earning. There's a lot of money that's moving in the world, 21 billion in the developing countries alone, but there's lots of space for more outcome funds. So we are planning as a group to create a new instrument that will be outcome fund oriented, but we are hoping that there can be many more of these. So those who'd like to come to join us, I know that Minister of Finland, the Foreign Minister, would join me in saying that we would love you to be with us. What's happening in our world is that we are reimagining how school should look. We are reimagining how work should look. And we are reimagining how a school to work transition or side-by-side school and work should look in our world. So it's a time when, if we can have gender equity, there will be digital literacy. It can drive economic growth, it can drive competitive businesses, and it can drive national advantages. So these outcome funds can be designed anywhere because the digital divide is everywhere. It's in the developed countries and it's in the developing countries. We have no more than a quarter of women who are currently in the artificial intelligence professional space. And it means that many of the algorithms are not designed by ways that can impact their own lives. And Jack, I know you know about this, but it's a really big gap in our world, and we want to change it. So please join Finland, UNCDF, UNICEF, and Volta Capital and help us design a great outcomes fund.
Thanks so much. That sounds really exciting and really interesting. And I'm so glad that you spoke about algorithms and the impact that they can have also often beyond the economic dimension. They really have an increasingly important role to play in shaping different social and political and cultural domains. So I'm glad to see that this is very explicitly the potential bias integrated into the thinking and also integrating kind of like grassroots participation as well. So apart from this collective commitment to explore innovative financing solutions, can I ask each of you to share one other commitment that you're really excited about? And this can include with a wide range of partners.
Well, Jack, if I start from the Finnish side, the issue of the virtual safe space is very important for us because technology and innovation create countless opportunities for gender equality, but they can also create risks and cause harm. And preventing and eliminating online gender-based violence is a priority to Finland as a leader of this action coalition. We want to explore with the tech industry, such as the gaming industry, how tech can be used to address online harassment and discrimination. And in this, we are partnering with UNICEF, Open Society Foundation, and USAID in a concrete way in building and piloting an innovative virtual safe space designed with and for girls and women in humanitarian settings. The Virtual Safe Space app and platform provides support to survivors of gender-based violence and to women and girls at the risk of gender-based violence affected by crisis, conflict, and COVID-19. Back to you, Jack.
Thanks a lot. And Henrietta, Ms. Ford?
Well, so let me just build on Minister Haavisto. So this Virtual Safe Spaces app and platform is about putting human-centered design squarely in the center of this process and in the hands of girls and women, because they know their own digital realities, which tech tools bring them joy and which ones bring them opportunity and which ones do not. So we've got a number of partners, and I'll name a few. Chloe, Clé de Peau Beauté, Girl Effect, Microsoft, Pandora, Unilever Dove, Vodafone, America's Foundation. We are all going to collaborate with girls and young women, and we're going to expand in 5 areas. 1, digital literacy content. 2, platforms for mentoring and peer support, and this is very important, Jack. Number 3, equity in digital job sourcing. Number 4, support for young women entrepreneurs and startup founders. And 5, tech tools for learning, what they want versus what we want for them. We want them to create. So UNICEF is committing $1 million to Tech for Girls Global Innovation Challenge. We welcome others to join us. And Jack, if it's possible, we've got a video for you. It is one of the young women, very capable, Bele. She's in Brazil. She's collaborating with UNICEF and Dove to design a chatbot that's for her, it's for her peers, and it's for her generation.
Amazing. Yes. So with that, let's cue the video with the video shot from Bele, and then that will be followed also by commitments from Plan International Network and Microsoft. And yeah, I think maybe also President of Slovenia and the Global Innovation Fund.
Olá, eu me chamo Isabelle Vitória, tenho 18 anos, moro na cidade de Itaberaba, Bahia. Eu conheci o TOPIT através do UNICEF e participei.
I work with the UNICEF and on this
foi a linguagem.
bot called Topity, because we wanted to have an accessible language which was actually going to actually be acceptable to teenage girls.
Porque se estão criando algo para nós, nada mais importante e fundamental que a gente participe, que a gente aponte, que a gente possa sugerir algumas coisas também. Eu sempre penso que o TOPIT está mudando vidas, ele vai mudar pessoas, vai atingir pessoas positivamente a entenderem que elas são como são e que o fato de uma pessoa ter uma beleza não diminui a sua beleza também, porque cada pessoa é única, cada beleza é única. Então agora, toda vez que alguém chega até mim para falar algo do tipo, eu sempre penso no TOPIT, eu penso como ele me ajudou, porque eu também tenho problemas, eu também enfrentava algumas questões com a minha imagem. Com cabelo, por exemplo, até uns anos atrás era uma luta para eu poder aceitar, para eu poder me aceitar do jeitinho que eu sou. Quando eu acessei o TOPIT pela primeira vez, que eu vi que era um espaço seguro, eu fiquei totalmente segura para continuar o bate-papo. E ao mobilizar, a coisa mais legal que aconteceu foi quando alguns amigos vieram até mim falar que gostou de ter participado da experiência. Alguns amigos mesmo que há um tempo atrás a gente conversava sobre autoestima ou sobre a falta dela. E muitas das vezes um quer ajudar o outro, mas não tem como. Então quando esses vieram até mim para falar que gostou, que foi uma experiência legal, que aprendeu coisas, então esse para mim foi o maior presente.
Ekscelence, gospe in gospodje, najprej mi dovolite, da iskreno pozdravim pobudo UN Women in predsednikov Francije in Mehike za organizacijo serije dogodkov na temo Generation Equality Forum. Indeks enakosti spolov Slovenijo umešča visoko na svetovnih in evropskih lestvicah. A tudi mi smo še daleč od polne uresničitve načela enakih možnosti. Tako v Sloveniji kot povsod po svetu je pandemija COVID-19 na nek način korak nazaj v prizadevanjih za večjo enakost med spoloma. Potreben bo dodaten napor, da bomo obrnili ta trend in kot družba izkoristili vse potencijale, ki jih imamo. To nam bo pomagalo tudi pri soočanju z izzivi okrevanja po pandemiji COVID-19. Stekleni strop z veliko nevidnimi ovirami pri napredovanju žensk je posebno čvrst ravno na področju žensk v znanosti in tehnologijah. Vključeni smo v UNESCO program For Women in Science. Vlada Republike Slovenije že vrsto let spodbuja in sofinancira projekte za opolnomočenje žensk na tem področju. Imamo komisijo za enake možnosti na področju znanosti. Zadnjih nekaj let tudi osebno podpiram spodbujanje deklet za odločanje za inženirske poklice. Naj omenim pobude, kot so inženirke in inženirji bomo, ter projekt vsakoletne razglasitve inženirke leta. Naj zaključim za zavezo. V Sloveniji bomo nadaljevali s prizadevanji za večjo enakopravnost žensk na vseh področjih, vključno s področjem tehnologije in inovacij. Še naprej se bomo vključevali v mednarodna prizadevanja na tem področju. V Sloveniji, Evropi in svetu je veliko znanja. Izkoristimo ga in omogočimo vsem, da prispevajo k preboju v trajnostni, človeku in okolju prijaznejši razvoj. Hvala za vašo pozornost.
Plan International has been working with UN Women, Generation Equality Action Coalition leaders, the Youth Task Force, girl and youth activists, and other partners, including the Adolescent Girls Investment Plan, to champion adolescent girls across the action coalitions. We have also wanted to ensure adolescent girls' safe and meaningful engagement in generation equality processes. We are proud to be submitting commitments across Action Coalition in every way. Plan International is submitting 2 commitments to the Technology and Innovation Action Coalition. Firstly, Plan International with Samsung Electronics Nordic will advocate the creation of technology that challenges harmful gender norms and stereotypes. This will happen through the engagement of girls, and in particular, again, adolescent girls, as innovators and creators of technology. Secondly, Plan International will build on our global Girls Get Equal, Free to Be Online campaign to amplify the voices and experiences of girls, and in particular, adolescent girls, in relation to online gender-based violence and discrimination in national policy fora. We will do this across the 40 countries where we have a presence, as well as globally. Thank you.
Broadband has become quite genuinely the electricity of the 21st century.
Can you imagine living without the internet? That's the reality for nearly 3 billion people. And there's a big gender divide. Roughly 58% of men and 48% of women are using the internet. And in some parts of the world, the gap is even greater.
My name is Joanne Ambutu. I'm the IT manager for East Africa at Unilever. Data connectivity is important for everyone. From how we shop, how we work, how we travel, everything depends on connectivity. And in Kenya, my country, many businesses are actually run by women. Women are the ones backing a lot of families, ensuring the financial stability of these homes. This current initiative, Project Transform, has been running for a few years now. We've managed to make internet connectivity possible in rural areas. So this is definitely a big game changer.
Microsoft brings to the table a global presence and our technology, whereas Unilever has in-market presence. And we bring together our ecosystems at the local, regional, and government level, including also with development banks. And I think it's bringing these organizations together and combining our efforts that will really help us achieve transformative change.
So Mawingu came in with the support from Unilever and Microsoft to be able to provide this data at almost half the price.
Mawingu is actually the Swahili word for cloud or clouds. The first thing that we did in our work with Microsoft and Unilever was to try to understand the nature and the size of the problem. We were shocked to realize that even within the areas where Mawingu has already rolled out our solutions, only 30% of our users are women. Really, that's embarrassing if you consider that women make up slightly more than 50% of the population.
As a woman from Kenya in Africa, I am also a beneficiary of this. I'm a mentor to many girls, some as far as Rwanda and Kakuma, a refugee camp. Definitely mentorship is working and we are able to provide it virtually.
As long as we ignore the fact that many members of our society are unable to make use of these solutions, then we will never attain these other goals and objectives that we have.
We are really excited to be part of this movement. We need to come together to really think about solving this problem for girls and women around the world.
Thank you, and that was really great. And I'm really also excited to hear, I'm really glad to hear perspectives and voices of women who are sort of like, directly experimenting and developing and thinking about how technology can facilitate a range of things. Especially glad to hear about bodily autonomy and agency amongst young women. And I think, yeah, the sort of like intersection between technology and health and sexual and reproductive health and rights is a key one. And we don't hear enough about pleasure when it comes to technology. And we know that one of the greatest power of digital tech is facilitating our ability to expression and participation. So next we have a live segment, and after that I will invite you to sort of do a little stretch. But before that, we will have our next live segment, and I would like to invite Ms. Oya Undukizil, Koç Vice President of Corporate Communications and External Affairs, to share their commitments.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Jack. It's a pleasure for me to be part of this conversation. Since its inception, we acknowledge the tremendous efforts behind the Action Coalition, and are really very excited to be one of the leaders to contribute to transformation. So, we have been very active in global platforms that work towards achieving gender equality. Given our almost 10% share in Turkey's GDP and leadership position in various sectors, we have the power and the responsibility to initiate change, especially in the private sector, in Turkish private sector. So, Jack, we operate in traditionally male-dominated industries, including automotive, energy, consumer durables. Therefore, it's very critical for us to address the gender biases. And as part of our role as the United Nations He-for-She Impact Champion, which we carry since 2015, we started a movement to increase women employment in all sectors, especially in male-dominated sectors that we are operating in. We developed gender trainings for our employees, distributors, suppliers, and reached almost 1,000 people one-on-one in total. And also to contribute to cultural change in this male-dominated sectors, we focused on increasing women's participation and leadership in engineering and tech jobs. Now we are embarking on a new journey as one of the Action Coalition leaders today. In addition to women's leadership in technology, we acknowledge the importance of inclusive design and implementation of technology-led solutions for gender equality. And as part of our new role, we are committed to mobilize our diverse set of experiences, skills, and resources, both at Koç Group companies and our wider ecosystem. First, we are going to develop a global blueprint for gender-responsive innovation by transforming and piloting the Koç Innovation Program. We will monitor and improve the ratio of women entrepreneurs and rate of innovation ideas led by women. And in order to mainstream our approach in the wider innovation ecosystem, we will create a guide to gender equal innovation and share it with our global network. Secondly, we are mobilizing all Koç Group companies to become global commitment makers by themselves, from automotive to consumer durables, from energy to finance. We will support collaboration and best practice sharing to maximize our impact. And thirdly, last but not least, we are launching a series of programs to support women innovators. In partnership with UNDP, we will support initiatives of women-led startups, and simultaneously we will also introduce an accelerator program tailored to support women-led tech initiatives in partnership with Koç University. So as I conclude my remarks, I would like to highlight that gender equality can really only be achieved through collective action like today. And as the leaders of Action Coalition, I'm very happy to see that we are united as public, civil society, and private partners towards bold solutions that will spark a gender diverse and just digital evolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I'm really glad to see commitments to make huge shifts within the private sector and to change culture within male-dominated sectors. Totally agree with you around the need for collective action. And next we have Mr. Halin Chow, Secretary General of ITU.
Thank you very much, Jack. It's my pleasure to join you at this session. First, let me just thank UN Women and the government of Mexico and France to make ITU as part of this exciting movement. As I see the theme of this forum, I extremely happy. Technology and innovation for gender generation equality. ITU is considered as a technical agency, technology agency, and innovation agency. This is the UN specialized agency for ICTs. But ITU is also agency for development. So we also promote gender equality. Myself is a so-called international champion in the Geneva-based diplomatic corps, so that we have regular meetings, we have a lot of contacts. And in ITU, we also have a lot of activities. For example, we put every year the last Thursday of April as a day to mobilize people to encourage girls in ICT. So this year we celebrate our 10th anniversary of this event. And then, that we also, at our big conferences like World Radio Conference, we organize network women to encourage skilled ladies, experts to demonstrate their leadership. And for the forthcoming World Telecommunication Development Conference, we are also form this network of women to encourage them to once more again show up their leadership. And also we work with UN agencies like UN Women. We launched the Equals project. That project now is recognized by UN General Assembly, also recognized by G20. And we worked with UN Women and ITC to increase visibility, business, and digital skills, try to bring 10,000 technical sector women leaders and entrepreneurs by 2026. And with UNICEF, with my dear colleague Fieta, that we established a common project called GIGA, and we invite the private sector to join us, try to connect the schools, and mainly we focused on this primary school and secondary school, where we have a lot of programs to connect children, and here you have major problems, challenges to the girls. And in Geneva, I met some new colleagues, like newly appointed Director General of WTO. We talked about our cooperation for the e-commerce, and we also talked to strengthen our cooperation to bring the digital skills to women, and that she, as a woman leader, that very much like to focus this kind of weakness, so that to do something to improve the situation. And yesterday I met with newly arrived Secretary General of International Red Cross Federation, and we also talked about cooperation. And I can tell you, for each cooperation we address this issue of gender equality. So that I think that this is very important. And of course, with the private sector, like with GSMA, with EY and W4, we launched initiative called Her Digital Skills Initiative, to encourage industry to work with us to bring this gender equality as important issues for our common efforts. So that we always try to encourage, but unfortunately, let me just tell you my personal observations. Still, in the science technology field, in the schools, unfortunately, we don't have as many girls be interested in this science and technology, so that we have to do more to try to encourage more girls to our technology and engineering in a field. And I really applaud this initiative by this forum to launch a 5-year action. I think that we can achieve the goal, at least 50% of the global ICT policies with gender mainstreamed by 2026. So we can do this by enabling enhanced, safer, and more affordable access to ICTs, building digital skills, and by addressing the stereotypes and social norms that still lead to discriminations against women. So that we still have a lot of challenges. By holding back half of the world's population, we will hold back human progress. So let us foster gender mainstreaming in all digital policies and make digital gender equality an important part of our efforts to build back better for an equal digital future for all. Thank you very much to give me opportunity to address this panel. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks so much for that. Actually, I still remember when UN Women was at the Internet Governance Forum one year at the launch of the Equals project, and I'm going, wow, digital rights and the issue of internet governance is really getting gender integrated. And now I see ITU in a UN Women-led process, and I think it really is very in a different moment in terms of integrating between technology and gender, in my own experience, and it's a really great thing to witness. Next, we will hear from Sundar Bridget Jones, Managing Director of Policy and Advocacy at the Rockefeller Foundation, to share their commitments as the last input in this particular live segment. Ms. Jones? Rockefeller Foundation to share their commitments as the last input in this particular live segment.
Thank you so much. I hope you're able to hear me.
Ms. Jones?
Yes. Are you able to?
Rockefeller Foundation to share their commitments as yes, we can hear you. In this particular live segment.
Thank you so much. I hope you're able to hear me.
Ms. Jones?
Yes. Are you able to?
Rockefeller Foundation to share their commitments as yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I will just go ahead and continue. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you to the UN Women for organizing this historic event, and to the presidents of Mexico and France for hosting this year's session. On behalf of the Rockefeller Foundation, I'm grateful to join such an impressive panel and convening at such an important moment for humanity and for women and girls in particular. The Rockefeller Foundation is proud to serve as the forum's philanthropic lead for technology and innovation. It's a piece of our 108-year history of leveraging advances in sciences and technology to serve humanity, including revolutions in public health and agriculture, which saved 1 billion lives. And today, we believe technology and science can empower women and girls to live lives of equity, opportunity, and safety. And unfortunately, over the last year and a half, COVID-19 has reversed decades of progress. A recent report suggested in just 1 year, the cause of women's parity in the workplace and economy was set back 36 years. And that's bad news, not only for women and girls, but for anyone hoping for a full recovery from COVID-19. And we know that humanity makes progress when women and girls advance. And unfortunately, we're also seeing that the inverse is true as well. We all suffer when women and girls fall behind. The good news is we all know how to promote women's progress. And over the last few years, the Rockefeller Foundation has worked with partners to install nearly 600 mini-grids, which provide reliable, renewable power without worsening the climate crisis. And these amazing technologies have made life better for women and girls in India, Myanmar, Nigeria, and Puerto Rico. They can study and start businesses, they can benefit from advances in healthcare, and they can walk streets safer and freer. And today, these technologies have finally advanced to the point that we can empower 500 million women and girls around the world. And that's why the Rockefeller Foundation announced last week that we're partnering with the IKEA Foundation to invest more than $1 billion to scale these solutions globally and end poverty as we know it. This is the biggest one-time commitment the Rockefeller Foundation has ever made, and it's as revolutionary as our previous work. After all, giving women and girls access to electricity does more than create jobs, refrigerate food, run clinics and schools. It empowers them to compete in the 21st century economy and lead in their communities. Truly revolutionary change will also require the work of each of you and your organizations and networks. And the Rockefeller Foundation is pleased to commit another $30 million to support those working on women's economic and political empowerment, and to participate in CoImpact's new Gender Fund, which will prioritize women-led organizations in the Global South. Together, we can take the bold and urgent actions needed to empower women and girls, accelerate a more just recovery, and build a better future for all of us. Thank you.
Thanks so much, and really great to see such a huge commitment to also basic kind of things including electricity, which is so critical and often invisible when we speak about technology. So we started late and we're running a little late as well. I just wondered how everyone is doing, and pleased to take this opportunity to maybe stretch, because we sat for an hour. And not to forget your body, even as you're in front of the computer. I know that the team is probably telling me stop wasting time, Jack, but I think it's just, take the time to take a deep breath and stretch. And also just type in the chat box how you're feeling right now and share with each other, just one word. After hearing all of these commitments for the last hour and seeing all of this work, what is the one thing that you're thinking about and that you're feeling? And just please take this opportunity to, check in with each other and check in with yourself. And as we're doing that, we'll move to the next video segment, which will begin by a short video by GSMA and the critical role that mobile phones can play for women in low and middle income contexts, especially given the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. And this will be followed by commitments from the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, the BBVA Microfinance Foundation, and finally from MasterCard. Here in the video.
Naitwa Frida Kairodhi kutoka Meru County, mahali inaitwa Gyaki. Mimi nafanya ukulima wa mahindi na sorghum, na pia nafuga kuku, nafuga mbuzi. Hapa ni mashambani. Bila internet unaweza kuwa mbali sana na hii maisha ya kisasa, kwa sababu
मोबाइल ने हमारी लाइफ को चेंज करके रख दिया। हमने अपना सिलेबस भी मोबाइल इंटरनेट से मंगा के देखा और समझा सेकेंड ईयर का, और कोई भी टॉपिक अगर हमको नहीं समझ आता था तो हम लोग यूट्यूब पे जा कर के उस टॉपिक को समझते थे। और क्योंकि सर थे नहीं, कॉलेज बंद हो चुका था कोरोना के दौरान, तो मोबाइल ही हम लोगों की बहुत मदद किया। मोबाइल से हमने बहुत सारी स्किल्स को एक्सप्लोर किया, जैसे कि वीडियो एडिटिंग करना, वॉइस एडिटिंग करना, वीडियो मेकिंग करना। हमने बहुत सारे नए नए डिज़ाइंस बनाने सीखे, जैसे कि ऐप्स के माध्यम से, जैसे कैनवा एक ऐप है, वो सब चीज़ें हम लोगों ने एक्सप्लोर किया मोबाइल में ही।
Wakati wa corona mamangu alikuwa mgonjwa na tukapata go through the internet, tukapata online doctor na tukapata kumtibu na akapata nafuu. Mimi kama mfanyabiashara, kasi internet sijui saa hii ningekuwa wapi, juu imenisaidia sana. Kiki zangu ziko sawa, hata mapishi yangu iko sawa.
दुनिया मुट्ठी में अगर आपके पास मोबाइल है तो पूरी दुनिया को बदल सकते हैं, हम दुनिया से कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं।
Kuwa na internet imekuwa imenisaidia sana kama mkulima. Tuseme wakati wa mvua inakuwa ujui, tuseme mvua itanyesha lini, lakini tuseme ulikuwa umeandika hata kama ni mahindi yako nje ama ni mtama, na inaingia kwa hizo apps za weather, unasoma, unajua tuseme saa fulani itanyesha. Kama ulikuwa na kitu nje unaweza niweka kwa nyumba. Sasa imekuwa imetusaidia tu sana. Mimi naitwa Frida, niko hapa Meru na ninaweza connect na ulimwengu mzima thanks to internet.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellencies, I thank the organizers for convening this important forum. At Beijing in 1995, the world community made bold commitments for women empowerment. Many of those promises, unfortunately, remain unfulfilled. Globally, women's participation in politics, economy, and labor force is not encouraging. Today, only 25% of parliamentarians are women, while women participation in labor force is still 31% less than men. We must reverse this situation through bold policy measures and concerted actions. Women's empowerment has been a priority of my government. Our Digital Bangladesh vision has meaningfully integrated women in IT sector. We have launched various practical projects aimed at creating women IT professionals and efficient entrepreneurs. We are also using many digital apps in addressing violence against women. In the last 3 years, over 71,000 girls received cyber awareness training leading to their enhanced safety on cyber platforms. In continuation to my earlier place at the 25th anniversary event of the Beijing Conference, today I would like to make following plays. Increase women's participation in ICT sector, including tech startups and e-commerce sector to 25% by 2026 and 50% by 2041. I wish the forum all success. I thank you all again.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to participate in the Paris Generation Equality Forum and formally present our commitments. The BBVA Microfinance Foundation promotes the sustainable development of people living in vulnerable conditions, supporting financial and social inclusion, women's empowerment, and the environment, all essential items to the achievement of the 2030 Agenda. Starting in 2008, our microfinance institutions have disbursed more than $15 billion to low-income entrepreneurs. And according to the most recent OECD data, we are the first philanthropic provider for development in Latin America and the Caribbean, and the largest global contributor to gender equality. However, many women are still left behind, and this is why we convey this commitment to bridge the gender-digital divide in access and competencies for 2 million female entrepreneurs for the next 5 years, through a specific value proposition with digital financial solutions and also innovative non-financial services. To this aim, we are partnering with institutions like the UN Women, USA, Equals, MasterCard, the Trust for the Americas, among others. Moreover, we are bringing internet connectivity to remote areas with a focus on vulnerable women, which will provide digital financial inclusion, training and access to many other essential services and opportunities without traveling long distances. This is the time to act and make bold and transformative commitments. The Action Coalition offers an incredible opportunity to join forces and find synergies to utilize millions of women so they aren't left behind. You can count on the BBVA Microfinance Foundation support to deliver game-changing results for the women in Latin America. Thank you.
26 years ago in Beijing, governments and civil societies got together to talk about how to create equality between men and women. And it's never been more vital than today. But today, businesses are engaged. In my own business, MasterCard, we reach 3 billion people on the planet, and we know that 85% of today's buying decisions are made by women. Women are incredibly important to us, which is why we're here today to make our commitments. We commit to pay everyone equal wage in over 200 countries we operate in. We commit to link our ESG goals, such as our gender pay gap, to our executive compensation. And we commit to bring the next billion people into the financial system, and included in that 25 million small to medium-sized enterprises run by women. And because the future is so important, we commit to reach 5 million girls through our Girls for Tech program by 2025, because we know that a world that is designed for women works better for everyone. Thank you.
Great, thanks a lot. And now I would like to introduce Ms. Ufa Modi, the Global Lead of Digital Grassroots, to share their commitments.
Good day, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ufamode. I am the global lead and co-founder at Digital Grassroots. We are pleased to be here with you today to present our commitments as the sole youth leaders in this Generation Equality Forum Action Coalition on Technology and Innovation. Our commitment, building capacity for future internet leaders, is aimed at increasing digital citizenship in local communities by actively engaging young people, predominantly young girls and women, in capacity building programs on internet health, internet literacy, and internet governance. We are dedicated to ensuring that as modern innovations for digital technology are deployed globally, young people in underrepresented communities are not excluded from the development, distribution, and governance of the digital technologies we use today. Our work cuts across youth inclusion issues in the digital space relating to internet for economy, social life, and security. We are taking on a two-pronged approach to map our commitments. Our internal commitment is to connect at least 50 young women to institutions and states within the Action Coalition for Technology and Innovation in order to enhance their leadership capacity and autonomy in digital citizenship by 2026. This will be through a tailor-made consultative approach to provide the Action Coalition leaders with a decolonial, feminist, and intersectional lens on three themes, including inclusion of underrepresented communities on digital issues, open leadership and open internet principles, and best practices for engagement of marginalized youth. For our external commitment, we will create 3 programmatic interventions to build the capacity of future internet leaders through engagement of 1,000 young women in internet literacy, internet health, and internet governance by 2026. Thank you once again for having us in your midst. We appreciate your support as youth leaders trying to make an impact for gender equality in technology and innovation. We look forward to implementing our commitments. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks so much. And also, I love that it's the first time I'm hearing intersectional feminine perspective, digital citizenship. Thanks so much. And next, I'd like to invite Ms. Caitlin Kraft-Buchman, but co-founder of A+ Alliance. I'm so sorry for that.
Okay, hello. I'm Caitlin Kraft-Buchman, co-founder of the A+ Alliance, as you just said, and founder of Women at the Table. A+ Alliance for Inclusive Algorithms is a global feminist coalition of technologists, activists, and academics who focus on feminist AI and affirmative action for algorithms. That's inclusion aimed at proactively creating gender, race, and intersectional equality, working across disciplines, sectors, and regions so that machine learning does not embed an already biased system into our common future. So we lead the A+ Alliance with the Laboratorio Experimental de Tecnológico de Costa Rica, with our regional partners Tech Monterrey in Mexico City, Jordan Open Source in Amman, and Chulalongkorn in Bangkok, because we know that we shape our tools and thereafter our tools shape us. So our commitment is to the technology we need, not the technology that we have. We intend to do this by inverting the tech pyramid for a needs-based, rights-based tech with problem solving focused on how technology can measurably, positively impact social problems, improve quality of life, correct for historic exclusion, and address more of the SDGs. We'll do this by convening women and girl community leaders at the grassroots, on the front line, in the global south, and through mixed methods, use the SDGs to help define the problems women and girls know so intimately and define solutions that only they know so well. With local university partners, we'll then mobilize multidisciplinary and multi-stakeholder local and international teams of social scientists with technologists to work hand in hand with the frontline grassroots women's groups. There we'll co-create, prototype, and pilot this needs-based, rights-based technology that women and girl community leaders will own, design, and maintain, controlling their own solution to their own problem. Our other collaboration partners are the Internet Lab in Brazil, the Observatory of AI Social Impacts, UNTREF Argentina, the Data and Feminism Lab at MIT, the Digital Humanities Lab at Emory University, and the Data Pop Alliance. So we invite feminists, innovators, social scientists, technologists, makers, governments to create tech across the global South with us that ensures that no one is left behind and that we all thrive, leveraging tech's full power to positively transform lives at scale, invented by those who need it most and know their solutions to their own problems best for the tech we need. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you can see me, but I'm like snapping all the way and nodding and grinning. I'm so loving everything that you're saying. It's so great. Thanks so much. So next we have a commitment dialogue. In our next commitment dialogue, we have Mr. Darren Walker, President of the Ford Foundation, and Ms. Nena Nokanma, Chief Web Advocate in Web Foundation, to have us in this dialogue. Please join me. Let me know if you're with me. Just say hello so I can hear you. Hi, Nana. Hi. Darren? No? Do we have you on in the call? Can I double check? Can someone let me know? Is Mr. Darren Walker of the Ford Foundation in the call?
Darren is on the call.
Yeah? Okay. I can't. Okay, so I can't hear, but I will just go ahead and ask the question, and maybe the conversation will pipe anyway. So Mr. Walker, one of the key strengths of Ford Foundation is creating critical linkages across different areas of your work, including between the AAC on gender-based violence, where Ford is the leader, and in this thematic area of tech and innovation. And I'm very glad to hear Ford Foundation's continued commitment to support the work done by our movements, working at the intersection of technology, innovation, and gender justice. So please tell us how Ford Foundation is taking this commitment forward today.
The ways in which in the internet women are harmed. So we believe only through multi-stakeholder strategies can we address this larger challenge of tech.
Thanks very much. As a fund that is led and grounded from the feminist tech movement in the Global South, we are very excited by this partnership and by the support from the Ford Foundation. And then I'm really glad to see you and the Web Foundation here today. Can you tell us more about the work that the Web Foundation has been doing to bring together feminist activists and tech companies to co-design solutions to end online GBV? What has been some of the impact?
Thanks for having me, Jack. Happy to see you. We are the World Wide Web Foundation, and we are here to advance the open web as a public good and a basic right for everyone. I'm pleased to share that 4 of the world's biggest technology platforms, TikTok, my video, my creativity, Twitter, Friends and Memories, Google, Search and Answers, Twitter, Tweet and Trends. These 4 companies, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and Google, have made bold commitments today to uphold their responsibility and improve women's safety on their platforms. The commitments are twofold. One is curation, and the other is reporting. For curation, they'll be doing 4 things. 1, offering more granular settings. 2, using more simple and accessible language. 3, providing easy navigation and access to safety tools. And 4, reducing the burden on women by proactively reducing the amount of abuse they see. For reporting, these 4 companies will be offering users the ability to track and manage their reports, enabling greater capacity to address context and language, providing more policy and product guidance when reporting abuse, and establishing additional ways for women to access help and support. These commitments, when fully realized, will lead to safer and more empowering online experiences for women and girls everywhere. This process has taken us 14 months, Jack, and it has involved civil society, government, industry, and many of the women who are directly impacted by abuse under Web Foundation's leadership. With today's announcement, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and Google are establishing themselves as leaders in the fight against the abuse of women. We celebrate this as a major win for everyone.
That's amazing. That's really such important work, and well done for getting the social media giants involved. I'm really heartened by the supportive work that looks at infrastructure and technology design level of work, where feminist analysis and movement engagement is a key part of the solution. In reimagining a tech future that's free from GBV, from gender-based violence. So how can the AC also provide more opportunities for cross-collaboration and also participation by more diverse stakeholders, particularly those from the Global South and from groups and communities that are most affected into this important work?
Well, I'm happy to jump in here first to say congratulations to the World Wide Web Foundation. What you all have done is extraordinary, and the Ford Foundation is proud to have supported the organization and are so grateful for your leadership. I would say that we believe we have to organize the private sector, the technology companies, along the lines of what we're hearing from the World Wide Web Foundation. We are in the process of a letter campaign to mobilize CEOs of major technology companies. We've already got Cisco and a number of other companies lined up for this effort, and this is an essential part of the strategy. We cannot solve this without multi-stakeholder approaches and without bringing philanthropy, which has a unique role to play in helping to convene, to bring everyone to the table and to keep everyone at the table, and to provide the resources, especially to civil society, so that it can do its job to hold these companies accountable.
And Lena, what do you think?
Well, I would like to say that this work we've done so far has been a collaboration of many organizations. We have worked for everyone, like I said, and I wanted to share this with you. First of all, the commitments today are a result of the pilot of Web Foundation's Tech Policy Design Lab. It has brought over 120 experts from 4 tech companies, civil society, and people from 35 countries. We see the Tech Policy Design Lab as part of a new phase of tech policy design, where solutions are developed on the basis of sound evidence, not reactionary politics, where there is meaningful multi-stakeholder participation, where people and their online experiences really define policy and product and design, and where solutions take into account the full diversity of these digital tools. Today, this approach has seen its results. The Web Foundation will hold these technology platforms for their commitments. We'll hold them accountable. We'll be tracking these against their commitments, and we'll be publishing annual reports. So we are looking forward in doing more, in working with the Alliance, the Technology and Innovation Coalition, and we will be doing more within the framework of the Tech Policy Design Lab. Our vision of the web we want, as captured in our contract for the web, is to be this, just exactly what we're doing today. Our policy as the Web Foundation is to be a thought leader. We generate evidence, we build alliances, we catalyze actions, we develop solutions, co-creating them with stakeholders like yourselves. If we have come this far, it is because we have benefited from the trust of APC and organizations like yours, and also our donors, of which my own dear Darren Walker is there. Darren, please take our gratitude to your team. And one thing, there are tampons and sanitary pads at the ladies' restrooms at Ford. Keep them there. We love them. Thank you. Last thanks, Jack. Two ladies of my team, Nina Brodia and Eve Cresa. Ladies, you are awesome. We just want to say thank you. The spirit of the web is the spirit of everyone. It's the spirit of co-creation. And I want to say thank you to our partners. Thank you to our donors. Thank you to our team. Thank you, Azmina. Thank you, Eve. Thank you.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Thanks so much, Nana. And I'm really glad to hear both of you mention some really key blind spots in this work, no, around participatory feminist research, policy design, infrastructure, tech dev, and also including people who are not usually seen or identified. So thanks very, very much to the both of you for this really great input and your commitments. Thanks. And now we will move to our last live segment. And I would first like to call Ms. Elizabeth Richard, the Director and Communication Animation Coordination at ENGIE. Ms. Richard, the floor is yours.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello from Paris. Thanks so much for giving me the floor. Let me say the role of women for ENGIE, our company, is extremely important. We are a world player when it comes to energy transition. It's clear objectives, clear processes, but above all, a strong commitment from the senior management with our only CEO woman of the CAC 40, of France's equivalent FTSE 100, Catherine Megarot, and we, with Jean-Pierre Clamadieu, their commitment is unswerving. And mixed male-field teams makes a major contribution to performance and efficiency. And on this particular subject, in ENGIE, we're at the cutting edge. More than 15 years ago, we implemented tangible initiatives to help move women forward in our organizations and improve our working corporate culture. Since 2008, we've developed a network of 1,800 women, active women in gainful employment, to demonstrate that women's are variables, levers for change. And this is part and parcel of our human resources policy. But within the framework of this forum, Equality Generation, as part of our corporate social responsibility, we have to say that ENGIE, we've accompanied the NGO Generation Tech. Its objective is to create a world which is more inclusive for women in innovation and technology. And it's one of the ENGRE is one of the 4 programs we're implementing to achieve this through this embrace for Generation Tech, which is to promote technology for young women or young girls from schools and from higher education. We're beginning with the Rhône-Alpes region of France, and our minister, Agnès Pannier, who's responsible for this, is giving us her full backing, and on behalf of ENGIE, I'd like to thank you very much, and I'd like to give the floor to my colleague Sophie Merlo. Thank you very much again.
Thanks very much. And now we have Sophia Merlo, the Head of Group for Human Resources of BNP Paribas.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Indeed, at BNP Paribas, for more than 10 years, we've been committing to having more women in our teams and at the higher management levels. And I would say the reports which have come out are very powerful, urging us to continue with our work. For example, in our executive committee of BNP Paribas, when you look at the highest level of BNP Paribas, we have a third of women. We're committing to 40% women by 2025. We will hit that target. 40% of women at our top level management teams in whatever country we may be in, irrespective of business operation. Now in banking, we're a tech business, as you know. There's a great deal of IT in banking. We're very committed to have a lot of women there. We've committed to many associations. We've created our own teams. We're working on the intergenerational issues. We've created an association, Women and Girls in Tech, that's its name, encouraging young girls, young women to fall in love with IT. And that's why we've posted more than 10 job proposals in the job bank. Thanks to this forum, we have to have many women submitting applications, young girls, young students. We would welcome their applications, and our I-teams are recruiting. They've got several thousand people in the headcount. We've got quite a few women, and we've got a major commitment to recruit 1,000 women over the next 3 years in our IT division. So it's quite naturally believed that it's important to commit to this particular trajectory and within the Forum Generation Equality. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Amazing. Thanks so much. Really great to hear about all these initiatives. And next up, we have Ms. Imen Zahouni Houmeil, Tunisian Minister of Women, Family and Seniors.
I'm here. I'm with you. Good evening. Should I begin?
Yes, please. Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Dear leaders of the coalition, dear participants, the nobility of these objectives pursued by the forum and the usage being made is only strengthening the commitment, continues its digital commitment. Solemnly, I announce the commitments as part of a coalition. So this is the natural extension of the objectives of a coalition that a ministry wishes to develop initiatives and opportunities provided by new technologies in the IT and communication field. So this is mainly based upon the autonomization or empowering women, and specifically in rural regions. Secondly, combating violence perpetrated against women, and as the digital moves forward and the traditional structures where women's labor is facing a difficult situation, we need to take advantage of this. We want to use digital as a key driver vector for empowering women in the future, in particular in rural regions. The mobile applications, which have already been put into place with the ministry and along with international organizations, the geo-localization of women who are active entrepreneurs, mean that the products and services of this can be seen by potential clients thanks to mobile applications via geolocation TIC. So our commitment is therefore to relaunch this application in all regions, thereby increasing the proximity and the brand outreach of this product and service. Similarly, we're targeting social rights. The digital platform entitled Protect Me has committed to helping women in rural regions with the Social Security Fund, and this is designed there is a multilateral development of this application to ensure better quality regarding all social issues and for the greatest number of people possible. Now, regarding the second strand, that's to say involving multiple sectors, that's unavoidable, and that's particularly important when combating violence perpetrated against women. And we need to involve as many actors as possible. And we've been developing since 2018 our commitment in this regard, and we'll continue upon this trajectory with stakeholders, and we'll be disseminating information for better enhanced accessibility to professionals as well as to women who are victims of violence. And in a similar manner, we're focusing on the rolling out of this to people with who are either blind or visual handicaps, and this application, which can be downloaded on Google Play Store, encourages the geolocation of movements of women by those closest to them, with a view to preempting any form of aggression or violence. Finally, our ambition, we wish to equip all women with all the right technological instruments to maximize their inclusion and their full involvement in the social and citizens' fabric of our country. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thanks very much for sharing such a comprehensive commitment and the plans. And next we have Ms. Emmanuelle Larocque, the CEO of Social Builder, to share their commitments. Ms. Emmanuelle? Is Ms. Emmanuelle Larocque in the room? Yes? Oh, okay. But can I hear? Oh, we can't hear her sound. Okay, so it's not just me. Right. Okay. That is a huge shame. We hope that you will be able to share your commitment in a different way. Next, we have 2 video segments. Oh, yes, we can hear you now. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Hello. Sorry for the mess. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be part of this coalition with so many amazing contributors and partners. So, Social Builder is a non-for-profit social enterprise. We design and deployed innovative solutions empowering all women to thrive in the digital economy. And we are building aspirational and inclusive ecosystem for women to join the tech workforce, supporting career choices, training them on skills for the future, and working on co-designing public and private policies. What we experienced over the past 10 years is that technology and innovation can be a solution for gender equality if solutions and programs are co-created and co-implemented with feminist organizations, public and private academic partnership. Today, we are thrilled to announce the launch of a global network of equality tech hubs. Those equality tech hubs will foster innovation, scale existing programs, along with dedicated financing to serve 1 million girls and women by 2026. Each hub will prioritize its action on the most significant issues relating to the gender digital divide that girls and women are facing in their region. Along with this commitment, we are very excited to announce another commitment, which is the creation of Social Builder Academy. This academy will be a free online and mobile platform to equip local feminist organizations and communities, non-profits, with interactive programs to inspire, train, and support girls and women in their transition to the digital sector. By 2026, 250,000 girls and women will have access to certified job-ready training programs that bridge the existing skill gaps in a very pragmatic way. Our commitments are common and global commitments, so please join us. And looking at the ambition of the Global Acceleration Plan, we know that we will be proud in 5 years of the game-changing results we have commonly achieved for gender equality. Back to you, Jack.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that we were able to hear you so that you could share these amazing commitments. And next, we will have a fairly long video segment. First, we'll hear from activists who are impacted by and work on online gender-based violence, followed by commitments from Plan International, the Global Innovation Fund, and the government of Estonia, and then a video that sort of speaks about a journey by a young woman into the tech sector, as well as commitments from the government of France and from Cartier. So please, let's cue in the video.
That are already vulnerable to violence in the offline world will be even more subject to this violence online, because people protected behind their screens, they feel like they can do anything, they can say anything, and that no one is going to hold them accountable for that.
This year, there was a concerted disinformation campaign against us to show that we were being blasphemous, which is absolutely ridiculous. Accusing somebody of blasphemy is like, it's a very serious accusation in Pakistan. It could lead to your death or like to life, like lifetime imprisonment. It really sort of makes us question whether we can even try to like protest in public spaces,
So we took a photo where we were 8 influencers on my Instagram account. I think we've got 600 to 800 hate comments because we were women. They've been redone. They said they had plastic surgery, we're prostitutes. It was horrible. We were insulted, and I think that the photos of men would not receive the same comments. So powerful. It's horrible having so many comments and death threats, things that go so far. There are no boundaries or limits in a given moment. If you want to gather your strength, you have to cut yourself off.
The scale of the backlash and the trolling and harassment is so big that sometimes we just feel that we are very few people who are up against a very big problem, and as women we have a huge personal stake in this problem, and it just doesn't seem to go away. It's relentless.
World leaders, decision makers aren't aware of the impact that violence has on individuals and on their lives. and maybe they're not even aware how much this affects mental health. We need existing laws that protect individuals online.
Hello, I'm Alex Peterson-Zwane, CEO of the Global Innovation Fund. We work with mission-aligned governments, philanthropy, and corporates to find and fund innovations with the potential to improve the lives of millions of the world's poorest people. In the past few weeks, we've pledged exciting commitments to gender transformative action through our membership in the Action Coalition on Technology and Innovation for Gender Equality. We commit to investing in and supporting the scale-up of innovations that leverage technology for equitable service delivery and inclusive opportunities for women and girls living on less than $5 per day. We commit to backing innovations that harness technology to increase the agency of women and girls living in poverty by tackling systemic issues that limit their control over their assets, their body, and their voice. We will make sure that all prospective GIF investments go through a rigorous gender screening process, and that we will continue to build gender metrics into our measurement of impact, and that we deepen our understanding of the power of technology and innovation to increase the agency of women and girls. Everybody deserves to be the protagonist in their own story, and we are excited to have this fantastic opportunity to contribute to this group's bold collective effort at the intersection of innovation, technology, and gender equality. And we very much look forward to working with all of you to drive forward progress in the coming months. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, women's and girls' equal opportunities concerning technology and innovation are ever more important in order to ensure full gender equality. Therefore, Estonia commits to the following actions: reduce gender digital divide and increase digital inclusion of women and girls. Set as one of the priorities for the Estonian Action Plan for Human Rights Diplomacy. Strengthen interlinkage of cybersecurity and gender, set as one of the horizontal priorities in the Estonian National Action Plan for Women, Peace and Security. Empower women and girls through ICT, set as a horizontal priority for Estonian development, cooperation and humanitarian aid. Advocate addressing the risk of an abolishing gender bias in the functioning and effect of artificial intelligence systems, as well as improving gender balance in all AI-related activities. At national level, we commit to further enhance efforts to increase women's participation in STEM fields, including in ICT. As a founding member of European Union's Digital for Development Hub, our aim is to work as Team Europe toward human-centric digital transformation and to reduce the gender digital divide.
We definitely need more women leaders to talk loudly and proudly about their achievement and success and inspire the next generation. So I had a very unusual path. I first did a baccalaureate littéraire in France. At that time, I felt like I wanted to work on more concrete projects, so I decided to prep exams to join a business school instead. This required a lot of courage to start again from scratch, and I think a lot of women hear about technology too late in their education curriculum. I do think that coming from a different background has always been a big advantage, especially since philosophy and technology are so intricate nowadays. My mission is really to educate our customers on how they can innovate with Intel and AWS technology and support large enterprises in their journey through digital transformation. women are still very much underrepresented in the tech industry, and I very often, find myself looking around and being the only woman on the call. Well, the tech industry is a lot richer than that, and you don't have to have studied computer science to join it. I think there are multiple ways that the tech industry could attract more young girls. So the first one is to address gender stereotypes at its origin and educate all young students at a young age and at school equally about innovation and technology. Another element is I do believe in quotas, and I do believe that without them, without this almost forcing hand, we would continue to repeat the same pattern again and again and unconsciously hire the same type of candidate who are usually, white men colleagues.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Agnès Pannier-Runacher, the Minister responsible for the economy within the French government. It's urgently needed given that few young people and women in the technological field. Why? Because these are the professions of the future. We need diversity for the right algorithms, for algorithms learn about diversity, because it's these professions which will respond to climate and ecological changes and challenges. And lastly, because these are mainly male-dominated professions, and there is no equality of opportunity nor high performance. On behalf of France and from my ministry, I wish to convey two commitments which I'm particularly keen on to increase the proportion of young women working in IT and digital. These two actions, we will conduct them during the last year of the mandate of President Macron, who has elevated male-female equality to a very high level. First of all, within engineer schools and digital schools, there was a major initiative combating sexism, we call it STOP, will be backed by large companies. The objective is that each pupil, each administrator, each teacher, lecturer should be aware of these issues and act so that young women can more easily join digital and innovation professions. And they will be beefing up our manual of best practice, which we drafted last year, and we will publishing an internet version of this for all companies, the best practice from all companies regarding male and female equality. And I want to really warmly thank the Forum Generation Equality for this historical impunity. I am, on behalf of France, really proud to be part of this community and its determination to help move forward IT and digital professions for women. Let's double up on our efforts in the future. Thank you.
President Macron has defined gender equality as the great cause of his 5-year term. Giving women the means to achieve their economic emancipation is paramount to the success of my mission as Minister in charge of gender equality, diversity, and equal opportunities. I see two axes to achieve that ambition and one key enabler. The first axis is professional equality, starting with equal pay and going all the way to equal representation of women in leadership teams. The second axis is the support to women's entrepreneurship so that female entrepreneurs get the same chances as men to get funding for their projects. But I also said that there was one key enabler to the gender equality ambition, and that enabler is a better access for women to education and the digital tools that will allow them to take their places in the current digital transformation dynamic that is affecting all the compartments of our professional and private lives. I'm therefore extremely happy to bring my full support today to the launch of the Generation Tech initiative as part of the Generation Equality Forum. The purpose of this French initiative is precisely to accelerate gender equality in STEM and digital fields through better access to tech studies, tech jobs, and tech entrepreneurship. I know that initiative will be a game changer towards a more inclusive society with technology at his heart. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Winji Sampaio, and I'm the Global Program Director for the Cartier Women Initiative. The Cartier Women Initiative is an international entrepreneurship program for women impact entrepreneurs. Our vision is a world in which every woman entrepreneur striving social and environmental change can achieve her full potential. After all, why would we solve the world's greatest challenge with only 50% of its potential? Since our inception in 2006, we have accompanied more than 200 women across 7 regions of the world, leveraging business as an important force for good, solving for one of the UN SDG goals, with many in STEM and many in STEM education. We learn of their specific challenge through accompanying them in their entrepreneurship journey, and raising financial capital is a big one. Overall venture funding to women entrepreneurs is still at less than 3%, and when you study the numbers even further, those to deep tech entrepreneurs is even just a smaller fraction than that. It is for this reason that we launched the new Science and Technology Pioneer Program in 2021. And today, we're incredibly honored, Cartier is a French maison, to be able to join the Generation Equality Forum. We hope that we can lead by example and join forces with other collaborators to launch the Generation Tech's Initiative Scale program. Our ambition is to support women on their capital raising journey to scale their venture and their impact. As one of our past fellow, Dora Palfy, once shared with me, if technology is the biggest shaping force of the future, and woman is not part of technology, woman is not part of the future. We must find a way to build an inclusive future as the world is all of us and needs all of us. Thank you.
Great. And now we are at the closing session. How are you feeling? I hope that you are feeling good, and hope that you've moved your body a little bit and got some energy from an exchange in the live chat session. I heard that there were words like hopeful, inspired being shared. That's really great. And if you haven't moved your body yet, make your left ear say hello to your shoulder, right ear say hello to the other shoulder. And so, last but not least, I'm really, really happy to invite Rocio del Pilar Gonzalez Parada in this closing session to be in conversation with me. Hi, Rocio. How are you?
I'm great.
Rocio.
I'm really excited to be here.
That's great. So as a leader, a young woman who is passionate about technology, studying molecular biotech engineering at Universidad de Chile, and an activist and a spokesperson for Tremenda's Foundation, tell us, what does it take to be a Tremenda?
Well, to be a Tremenda, what you really need is to be aware of the problems that surround you and take actions that target the problem. And that's exactly what we need from the world leaders right now, is we go from the banner to specific actions. Because we don't need only promise things, but make an impact that is intersectional and intercultural. You know that gender stereotypes in STEM areas are built at school. So education curricula is also a problem when we think about technology and innovation for gender equality. So for example, Chile here is a really long country, and most of the money is destined to the capital city, leaving girls in north and southern areas with less resources. Therefore, they receive a different quality of education. This, as you may know, enhances the gender problem in our country. And then on the other side, if we see governments lowering the financial aid for STEM students and researchers, how can we aspire to be a world leader of this coalition? We need to demand to end incoherence between politics and tangible actions. Because if the money is not put where it's needed, we are left with empty promises, and we need urgently to destine resources to science if we want to take technology and innovation for gender equality to a next level, so then we can build equal and sustainable nations. You know, that's why I want to give a shout out to all the commitment makers that are putting money into actions, because that's what we need, concrete actions. We need investment to take all these promises and everything that's been said to a next level. So yeah. And you, Jack, as a feminist and tech activist, how do you think Generation Equality Forum agenda for tech and innovation is a feminist agenda, and how can further become so?
What you were saying about coherence between policy, and really, I'm also really glad to hear many people talk about feminist, intersectional feminism today. One of the work that I'm super proud of is the collaboratively developed feminist principles of the internet, and it really starts with a very simple question: what makes a feminist internet? And it's not about bringing a bunch of feminists online, but it's really about shifting power, from the intimacies of our lives to the systemic and structural levels, to dismantle sexism, able-bodiedness, racism, colonialism, heteronormativity, and more that are baked into tech. And to do this, I think I completely agree with you. We really need to start from who will be most impacted and who do we not see, who are not here yet in the conversation, or who are here but not yet visible. And to center that, resource that, yes, definitely put money into it and invest and shift the framework of understanding what matters and who matters. And Rocio, we heard such fantastic range of commitments from so many different stakeholders. What do you think is the one concrete way we can approach this, like a paradigm shift in this framework?
I think the most important thing we have to do is shift the way people see technology and innovation. The actual COVID pandemic has showed us the importance of science and what funding research can do. Providing capital for science is a long-term inversion. So countries that have spent money in science throughout decades are now enjoying a better situation in this pandemic. And this is possible because these countries saw technology and innovation as a positive ally to countries, and not just as an expensive field not worth financing. So I think that's an urgent call, to close the gap on science funding between developed and undeveloped countries, because talent is homogeneously distributed around the world. And as a young woman, I hope that other young women, independently of the country they were born, can have the same opportunities a European or North American student has. Yeah, what do you think?
Amazing. I really like what you're saying there, for sure. And funding is being such a critical thing. But even after we've spent money, I think what that also makes me think of is the importance of things like open knowledge, open science, open design, making sure that we also have a science commons where we are, investing in knowledge that we can then all share in a way that is also beneficial to all. So yeah, completely agree with you on that. Thanks very much. And I think that sort of almost concludes our session for today. Is there any last words you would like to share, Rocio, before we close? And maybe also an open invitation to all of the participants. If you would like to share one cool thing that you heard in all of the commitments, please do so in the chat. And yeah, any last words, Rocio?
Well, what I really am left with before today's session is I'm really excited that everyone is taking an action for technology and innovation, and not only in the specific places, but putting money around the world. And I also wanted to invite world leaders to listen to younger generations, because we have the time and energy to change the world, and they have the support and the experience too. So I think that we can create this intergenerational space and alliance to improve the world of women, young girls, and everyone.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Rocio. I heard a feminist tech activist in the Mexico AC session in a panel organized by Global Fund for Women. And they said that we need huge ambitions, because the current tech reality is distorted with the impact of inequality and discrimination. But we have a real opportunity here to harness collective, global, shared commitment, to dream really big and to make a huge difference, beginning with meaningful access to all the way throughout the whole imagination, the designing, imagining, making, rupturing, disrupting, adapting, owning, policy making, framework shifting, and more. And we've heard such promising commitments today, but this is really just the beginning of a shared journey ahead. The action coalitions were launched in 2020, the actions outlines and introduced in Mexico and Paris, and then the journey map that I think the team will be sharing in the chat shows the journey. So the next 5 years will be very instrumental in our shared commitment to make sure that we collaborate to make a reality that centers gender justice, that does not tolerate gender-based violence, and that facilitates true transformational power towards equality in technology and innovation. So consider this as an open invitation. Please join this process, grow it with your ambition, your big dreams, your commitments. We all have the power to make this happen, and you can find more resources in the chat. Thank you very much to all of the Action Coalition leaders, to all of the commitment makers, to everybody who have shared their thoughts and insights today, to every single person who've been with us throughout this whole session. Thank you so, so much. And we will close.